see dead people. Action, no accident, I'm hands-on, he fuck around, get polished. Fucked on Wayne Grow, he was in jail, that's conniving. Then get his face tatted like a bitch apologizing. I'm glad D-Rose came home, y'all didn't deserve him neither. From Alondra down to Central, nigga better not speak on Serena. And your homeboy needs subpoena, that predator moving flocks. That name gotta be registered and placed on neighborhood watch. I lean on you niggas like another line of walk. Yeah, it's all eyes on me and I'ma send it up the pot. Ay, put the road label on me, I'ma get them dropped. Ay, sweet chin music and I won't pass the ox. Ay, how many stocks do I really have in stock? Ay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plus 5. Ay, devil is a lie, he a 69 God. Ay, freaky ass niggas need to stay their ass inside. Ay, roll their ass up like a fresh pack of Zod. Ay, city is back up, it's a must, we outside. Ay. They not like us, they not like us, they not like us. They not like us, they not like us, they not like us. Once upon a time, all of us was in chains. Homie still double down, calling us some slaves. Atlanta was the mecca, building railroads and trains. Bear with me for a second, let me put y'all on game. The settlers was using town folk to make them richer. Fast forward 2024, you got the same agenda. You run to Atlanta when you need a check balance. Let me break it down for you, this the real nigga challenge. You call future
like us, they not like us. That's the song we're running with, man. That's the song we're running with for the foreseeable future, yeah? When we become Premier League champions on Sunday, when we win the double next week as well, I have full faith. They're not like us. All they can do is complain about us, but they're not like us. They're not built like us, yeah? So we're running with that song, whether you like it or not. Say, OV-ho, OV-ho. Yeah, that's where we're at, man. That's where we're at. Do Man City get the credit they deserve? I'm seeing a lot of conversations about this on all sorts of streams, all sorts of content creators, all sorts of platforms, talking about, do this great City team get the credit they deserve? Are they talked about in the shed of light that they should be talked about in? We're going to have a chat about it. We're going to have a chat about it, people. Who we got in the building? MJG, good to see you. AP says, you deserve nothing. 115 host, shut up. Puneet, Renegade, Wiz, and Elder, good to see you all. Everyone, hit the big thumbs up button, man. Let's get those likes up nice and early. Subscribe if you're new, but yeah, hit the like button, man. Hit that like button. And the link in the chat, any of you wish to be a channel member. Right. Do Man City get the credit they deserve? Because I don't think we do, you know. I'm not going to lie, I don't think we do. I think, as William says in the chat, there's the biggest excuse for other clubs' failings. I think, Joe, do you know what it is with City? There's a huge amount of jealousy. Kind of aimed at us for a long, long time now. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you talk about great managers, you talk about great clubs that have achieved great things. Pep's come along, Man City have come along and ripped the whole thing to shreds, really, haven't they? And have done so many unique achievements over the last sort of 6, 7, 8 years, whatever. And people are just unwilling to kind of go, you know what? They're just great. They are just great. They're an amazing team. They deserve credit, what they've built at the club. And it's such an easy and lame thing to throw about, you know, charges and corruption and cheating. But as football fans, you know what I'm saying? Like, as football fans, which is what me and you are, I'm not a bank fan. I'm not a fan of legalities. I don't study the law, quite evidently. I think we have to be able to detach ourselves from accusations and negativity that we don't know a huge amount about, and just be willing to praise and appreciate what we do see on the pitch and what we do see on a week-to-week basis, which is Manchester City absolutely ruining the place. I mean, before we keep getting into it, big up Dr. Footy, big up Nick Calby. If I ask you the question, Joe, do Man City get the credit they deserve? What is your take?
My take is there's not a simple answer. There's sort of multiple different things I can say. I feel like there are certain things that we get enough respect for, but there are others which we just get completely disregarded for. And I feel like with the whole charges situation, it's just gotten worse. Like, we were never one of them teams who, you know, when it comes to the big awards, player of the season, team of the season, all that sort of shit, even in, you know, not just Premier League, you know, put that aside, just general football as well, like all the FIFA awards and Ballon d'Or and things like that. We've always struggled to get these individual awards. We always said, if, you know, we always come on here and say things like, if one of our players did that and they played in red, it'd blow the fuck up. Like, it would genuinely, like, viral moments, whatever, good players, like good goals. If they played in red, they'd get more respect, which is, like, I understand it. We're not one of the originals, are we? We're not one of them, You know, we're not United, we're not Liverpool. So like I get it, but I feel like it's gotten worse. It's definitely gotten worse with the charges. I feel like, again, we still get enough respect for certain things. I mean, the one that we always get respect for, and you always, it's mainly pundits who say this. You know, when it gets to the last 4 games of the season, and we're ahead in the title, or the title's in our hands, pundits will, you know, in this Pep Guardiola era, will, without fail, say that we're almost robotic. We don't slip up. Once we're ahead, we're ahead. It just, like, that is the level of respect we have in that situation, where we have enough respect where pundits and, you know, ex-pros are saying that we look unstoppable in the last, like, 15 games in a season. But the actual respect that you get for winning the trophies is still a little bit lacking, because every time you win something, at least at the moment, it's 1-1-5 this, 1-1-5 that. You bought it all. You cheated. This refereeing decision, that refereeing decision. You know what I mean? It's stuff like that where we've never really got the respect for winning the trophies, and it's gotten significantly worse when we've had this whole 1-1-5 sitting above us, because it's an easy cop-out. It's an easy thing to say if you're a rival fan, to go, you might have won this, but 1-1-5. You know, you cheaters.
See, the reason I wanted to have this conversation today, people, it's to get it in good time. This is not a stream I decided, or we decided to do just off the back of, say, having no content or having nothing to talk about. This stream was timed. This stream was handpicked for today, because I'm telling you now for a fact, people, we will win the league on Sunday. I believe wholeheartedly we will win the league on Sunday. And I'll tell you now for a fact, the onslaught of media and the onslaught of coverage and digestion of that game will be negative. The wider I suppose the wider, I don't know, I don't even know how to describe it. The backlash to it will be trying to discredit Manchester City, trying to talk about, well, this is why they did it and it's not fair, and, you know, the way they went about it was not fair, and they spent this much and they did that much, and no one can compete with this and no one can compete with that. Whereas what we want to be able to do is to just be able to give credit where it's due, to be able to give credit where it's due. I mean, you look at the trophy haul over the last few years, if anybody who wore red, and I'm talking about the main red clubs, people, if anybody who wore red achieved what we have done, or what we have over the last 7-8 years, whatever, we'd be taught, they'd be bona fide the greatest team of all time, bona fide, guaranteed, undisputed, the greatest team of all time that England has ever seen. For us to say that, it's like, oh well no, and we think this, and you did that, and you did here, you did there. Whereas if someone in red did that, it would be, no, they're the greatest team of all time. You don't have to fully respect that. And then you even look at, as Joe said, individual players, individual awards. Kevin De Bruyne over recent years, absolutely unbelievable. Doesn't get anywhere near enough praise that he deserves. I've talked about him on shows with rival fans, is up there with your Henry. Do you know what I mean? Sitting at the table with Thierry Henry. I believe Kevin De Bruyne, in my opinion, is the greatest player the Premier League has ever seen. But I'll accept an argument for Thierry Henry. I'm not going to debate too hard with Thierry Henry. But in my personal, slightly biased opinion, Kev is the best. And then people are trying to knock him down pegs and knock him down pegs. I'm like, okay, right, I see what's going on here. And then we look at slightly further down the line. We have Erling Haaland, yeah, an absolute freak of a striker, a mutant, a monster, breaking every single record, has something like 66 goals in his last 65 games for Manchester City. First season, the Premier League, shredded everything up, tore the whole place up, said, this is mine now, I'm breaking every record. And you have absolute dickheads calling him League 2 standard players, League 2 standard player, one-dimensional, not really that good. He's only scoring because he gets service from Pep's players, and maybe he's not in the right team, and, he should go to Real Madrid. If he was playing for Liverpool, Arsenal, Manchester United, one of those 3 clubs, we would be talking about Erling Haaland as the greatest striker finisher the Premier League has ever seen. But because he plays for Manchester City, people don't want to do that. So it's not just do City get the credit, it's does everybody involved in Manchester City, do all the players, do the board, do the staff, does the management team, does everybody involved in the operation that is Manchester City get the credit they deserve for the overwhelming dominance we have held and gripped over the Premier League for the last however many years. I mean, we've dominated England for the best part of 10 years. You can even go back as far as Mancini and then definitely up to Pellegrini and into the Pep years. We have dominated England trophy-wise, and we've conquered Europe, and we've conquered the world in the process. But all anybody wants to do is talk about corruption, talk about how we can't compete, talk about... It was net spend a few years ago, if you remember correctly, when at one point in time we had the highest net spend. It was, well, your net spend is bigger than everybody else's. You have spent more than everybody else. And we kind of went, okay, fair enough, we have spent more than everybody else, but we're winning, so we're not going to start complaining about the club spending money. And then all of a sudden, other clubs start to spend more money. Other clubs start to have a higher net spend and are actually regressing. You look at Manchester Uniteds of this world, you look at the Chelseas of this world, who have actually spent significantly more than us and are regressing. So now it's not a net spend thing. So now what is it? Now it's corruption. So you're talking about the people in our boardroom, you're talking about the people who run our club, you're talking about the day-to-day ongoings of the club. And for me, as a fan who has always claimed to know little or nothing about charges, about legalities, about regulations, I'm just a fan, I'm just a dickhead with a camera. All I want to do is focus on what I can see and what I do understand, and that's how well the club are operating. So it just seems to me all the time, people like Manchester City are becoming your biggest excuse for your club's failures. So if it's not net spend, it's the way the club is run. So what you're telling me is our club is run so well and your club is run so badly that the only way you can bridge that gap is by saying we're doing it illegally and we're doing it cheating, essentially, cheating. We have been found guilty of nothing, first of all. By the way, people, just remember that. We've been found guilty of absolutely nothing. I don't care how many people are learning their ABCs, how many people are counting to 115. We've been found guilty of nothing. United have been found guilty of breaching FFP. Chelsea have been found guilty and were banned from the transfer windows for not so long ago. Liverpool hacked our scouting network not so long ago and were found guilty of so and paid something like a 1 or 2 million compensation or whatever it was. They paid their dues. Do you know what I'm saying? So you're looking at 3 clubs there who have been found guilty of cheating. And the people who tell us we cheat are the ones who like to tell us all the time about breaking rules and these are the rules. Well, you broke rules. We have not been found guilty of breaking any rules. It's a lot of jealousy, people. It's a lot of jealousy. That's where my feeling comes from when you ask, do Man City get the credit they deserve? You're talking about a manager who's come into Manchester City. He's won 100 points, won the league in his second season. He does domestic clean sweep. Said it couldn't be done. Alex Ferguson, many people's greatest manager of all time, said that couldn't be done. A domestic clean sweep, FA Cup, Carabao Cup, Premier League, and throw in the Charity Shield if you want. It can't be done. That can't be done. No, Pep did that. Pep did do that, yeah. Pep did that. You got to go and do back-to-back leagues. Yeah, he did that. Okay. Well, you'll never do 3 in a row like Manchester United. Alex Ferguson did 3 in a row. You'll never do that. No way, Jose. No, Pep did do that. Pep did do that. Yeah, he's done 3 in a row. You'll never win a treble, people. You will not. No. Only Manchester United can win a treble. Only Manchester United can win the treble. In 1999, that team, they hold a special place in history that will never be repeated. It got repeated. It got repeated in 2023. Rodri scored in Istanbul, and then we beat them in the final. You won't win 4. Surely to fucking God, you won't win 4. Well, we're at game week 38 now. We just need 1 win, and we've done 4. So, where are we? Credit-wise. You know? People talk about Invincibles. People talk about the teams Alex Ferguson built. People talk about the teams Mourinho built. Mourinho built his teams with a huge amount of money, and people still look at him and glorify him and romanticize about Jose Mourinho. But Pep, no. Manchester City, no, Joe.
Mourinho, the man who gets sacked after 3 seasons. Mourinho. Interesting. I mean, we're never going to get the respect, even without the whole 1-1-5. It's just because of what we are, the way that the way that we've got here is, it just doesn't sit well with people. Like all the money that we've spent, like people just don't like it. They don't like they like the history and the heritage of the United teams of the 90s, and then you go back even further. You know, I think it was Liverpool in the 70s. They love the history and heritage. We don't got that. We don't got that, you know, as of recent history and heritage. You know, back in them days, pretty sure we're in the lower divisions. So we don't get that.
You know
People
what,
don't
Joe?
like us.
You know what? People don't like us, but you know what? Like while we've been silently winning trophies and dominating, and people telling us they don't care about us, and we have no history, we have no heritage. We've been making the history. We've been building the heritage. The fact of the matter is, we now have more heritage than pretty well all these clubs that are sending for us, with the exception of Liverpool and Manchester United. We have now more history and heritage. It's done. It's in the past. History, by definition, is in the past, and we now have more of it. We have. And even with Liverpool, they've never won a treble. They've never done a domestic clean sweep. In the Premier League era, have they ever retained a trophy? Never mind won 3 in a row. Have they ever retained a trophy? No, they haven't. Did he have? Twice, 3 times, over. So history and heritage. Did he have built history and heritage? We did have history and heritage. I'm sorry for those who are really ignorant and like to believe that City don't have history and heritage. We had 2 league titles before the Premier League era, and then we won the European Cup Winners' Cup, or there was some sort of a European trophy in there. City do have history and heritage, but what we've built over the last 10, 15 years has surpassed everyone. It's just a numbers game now. It's genuinely just a numbers game. As well, United have 20 and Liverpool have 19 or 20, whatever it is. They're equal. I don't even know what they're on now. That's just it. They have slightly more, or they have a good few more, to be fair. But any individual achievements we've done and more.
I mean, yeah, we're building the history and heritage. Like, maybe we'll get the respect. Maybe. Well, I mean, once everything is said and done and everything is in the past, like everything's in the past. You can't go back and rewrite it. But when I say history and heritage, I mean like more recent history and heritage. I mean sort of like 20 years ago, something like that. So maybe in the next sort of 10, 20 years when this Pep Guardiola era is over, when people look back at it, maybe they'll give us a bit of credit and go, it's one of the best football teams we've ever seen, ever. Maybe we will get that. Maybe it's going to take a little bit of us not winning and us not dominating and us becoming slightly less relevant than we currently are for people to give us our respect. That's why people don't like giving us our respect now, is because they don't like us and they don't want to admit that, that we are better ran and just better at football than everybody else. They don't like to admit that. But again, maybe in 10, 20 years, if we're not as good as we are now, which it'll be very difficult to retain what we are now. Because, again, this is one of the best sides you've ever seen. This is one of the best, 8-year periods, 9-year periods of a football club that you will ever witness. This is not normal. So maybe when all is said and done, and people can move past that, and Liverpool and Man United start dominating again because Red Cartel, they'll give us our respect because we're not as relevant as we are. But right now, no, of course not. We're not going to get any respect because people don't like the fact that we're winning everything. People are saying it's boring, predictable, and your typical big clubs aren't doing as well as people think that they should be. And add to the fact, the cherry on top is the charges, which is entirely relevant in discussing respect because before, again, like I said before, when people were not writing us off but not giving us enough praise, it was simply because they didn't really have a reason. They just didn't like us. But now they have a reason. They have an easy way out of not giving us our respect. Whenever we win things, or why are you not saying well done? Why are you not bigging up on any of our players? Why are you not giving our players the respect? Oh, because you dirty cheats. 115. Easy cop out.
It's that's kind of what my question is, and that's kind of why I'm thinking about it. Like, if we didn't have these charges looming over us, would people be sitting there going, they're amazing, wow, look at Manchester City, they're so good at football, and look at Pep Guardiola, he's such a good manager? No, they wouldn't. If it wasn't charges, people, it would be something else. When it wasn't charges, it was, well, you're irrelevant and you're boring.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Everybody was saying, well done, you can win however many trophies you like. Nobody actually cares about you because you're a small club. Now the charges have come out, they've moved from nobody cares to you dirty cheats. And when the charges disappear, because again, we both believe that we've done nothing wrong because we believe our club. So in the event that we've we get cleared of these charges, it'll just go back to nobody cares.
That's it. Listen, before we keep going, I have to assess this bomb the professional idiot has just dropped in the chat. He has gifted 10 memberships. Been in the near, Joey boy. 10 gifted memberships from professional idiot himself, the king of the members club. Yeah, we have a very prestigious club here for our members. As he says himself in the chat, look, I'm helping build a prestigious club for prestigious people. Our membership club, the HMTV membership club, is a very prestigious club for prestigious people. If you're prestigious, join the membership. Make sure you thank our king, professional idiot, for donating those gifted memberships. If you were lucky enough to receive one, thank him. He is our king. He's the king of the castle, king of the castle. He wears the crown when it comes to the channel membership. So absolutely can't thank you enough, professional idiot. You absolute king, the absolute goat. Our legend, our Lord and Savior here when it comes to channel membership. So anybody lucky enough to get one off him, make sure you thank him and put a W in the chat, because he is a main reason why it is a prestigious club. He's a prestigious person. He's a very prestigious person. And he's making sure you're all prestigious too. So we're sharing the prestige, where we follow a prestigious club in Man City. We're members of a prestigious club here at HMTV. And he's our Sheikh Mansour. Do you know what I'm saying? Professional Idiot is our Sheikh Mansour. And he also drops a super chat saying, no, we don't deserve credit because we are plastic, cheating, 115, oil corrupt, funded, bandwagon, glory hunting, fake paying ref, Manchester City, Moneychester City. Jesus, that was a big one. That's a big drum bop from you, professional idiot. He's coming with tongue in cheek. He's coming with sarcasm, which is all this 115 oil corrupt funded paying ref. It's only really come to the forefront of people's complaints with us since February 2023, which is the when the charges came in the day after Tottenham away last season when we lost. But like, as Joe was saying before that, it's just you're boring, no one cares, you're irrelevant. And I think to go back to one of Joe's points 5-10 minutes ago was that I think people will ultimately appreciate Manchester City. That's if we're found innocent, or not guilty, I should say. If we're found not guilty, which I believe we will, when we're found not guilty, okay? 10, 15 years from now, when City are not as good, City are not as in their pomp, City are not dominating, hopefully we are, but it's not normal, like you wouldn't expect us to be. Nostalgia is a big thing for people. Nostalgia is a massive, massive thing for people. And when they're not in the heat of what they're experiencing right now, which is the reign of Manchester City, when that's all said and done, and you know, we're 10, 15 years down the line, and someone else is probably slamming it. Someone else maybe's had a takeover and they're slamming it, or else one of the Red Cartel boys are back on top. You'll have people like fucking Rory Jennings and all these kind of people sitting on shows going, wow, weren't Manchester City just amazing? The way they played football and the elegance and the advantageous positions they put themselves in, and you know, the way Pep Guardiola reinvented himself every single day, and blah 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 blah. Say it now, motherfucker. Say it now. Do you know what I'm saying? Even Goldbridge, these kind of fuckers, man, they'll all sit there in 10, 15 years and they'll be milking the fact that they experienced Manchester City's dominance. Yeah, they'll be milking the fact they experienced it, and they'll be like, oh yeah, they were just amazing. You know, no one could compete with them. And do you remember that German guy that tried to compete with them for a few years? What was his name? Jagerbaum or Jurgen something. Yeah, remember him? Yeah, he couldn't even compete with them. They were amazing. But because everyone's in the heat of battle right now and everyone's in angry City mode, it's no, cheating bastards. They're boring. They're irrelevant. They're a juggernaut, and we cannot compete. We cannot compete. That's just the reality, people. It's nostalgia. Like you look at say 15 years ago, Joe, yeah, when more than 15 years ago, 20 odd years ago now, fuck me, you feel old. When Arsenal and United were going toe to toe, yeah. Arsenal and Man United were battling out for Premier Leagues for the best part of 5 odd years, whatever it was, 5, 6, 7 years. And Liverpool were nowhere to be seen. Those 3 clubs still talk about that era in a very romantic way. Like United fans will still talk about Arsenal, that great Arsenal team that we beat to leagues, or Arsenal fans will talk about that great Man United team that we beat to leagues. And then Liverpool fans, who had nothing to do with it at the time, by the way, will go, wow, those 2 great teams, Arsenal and Manchester United, of that period in time, that era in time. But they won't do it now. They won't do it now. Do you know what I'm saying? It's almost like a love fest, and we're not part of the club. You know what I'm saying? We're not part of the cartel. We're not part of the club. We're like the ops. We're like the what is it? The rebellion, the revolution. That's what Manchester City are. We're the revolution against the Red Cartel. United, Liverpool, and Arsenal. We're the revolution against them, and no one likes a revolution. No leader likes a revolution. Do you know what I'm saying? Like if you're leading a city or an empire, looking back into the history books, you don't want no one forming a revolution against you, civil war and that. You know what I'm saying? But we've done that. So they don't like that. They liked it when it was the little club. They had those three, and Chelsea were kind of sprinkled in there. They came along and they laughed at Chelsea a bit, and now we burst the bubble. We burst the club, but we have our own prestigious club, people, and that's the membership club. Link in the chat if anybody wants to be a member. See that for a promo, man.
Promo, what a plug.
I think it's true, Joe.
Yeah, like
you tell him. I'm gonna get a drink. You tell him.
Like history becomes the biggest factor. Like a lot of this the cartel stuff is just romanticized history nonsense of Invincibles, early to late 2000s United side. I won't go early 2010s. That was kind of the turning point, really, wasn't it? The sort of 2012 onwards was sort of when we started to get good. But sort of the early to mid 2000s. You look at that Arsenal United, that period. I mean, for one, I don't even remember, but I can look at a history book. And history tells me that was the era where they just, like, fairly competitive, but not as competitive as it is nowadays. Again, 10-15 years, when you look back at this era, it will probably go down as, even though we won, or we may be about to win our 6th Premier League title under Pep Guardiola, and we won 2 before that, you will look at this current era and go, look at how many times teams got near and around 90 points. Like, this was one of the highest quality eras in league football. Like, before, when you look back, 15, 20 years, when you talk about that era of Man United and Arsenal, ding-donging for Premier Leagues, they weren't touching 90 points season in, season out to win leagues. They weren't. It wasn't like that.
There you go. I mean, Arsenal, Avengers, City have no history. We've more than you. We've more than you. That's where we're at right now. That's where we're at. Have you won a Champions League? Have you won a treble? Have you done back-to-back? Have you done 100 points? Have you done a domestic clean sweep? No. You have Invincibles. Invincibles.
Invincibles.
Cereal box gold trophy. That's what you have, man. City have more history than you now. Because I think people forget the definition of history. It means in the past. And in the past, we have now achieved more greatness than you. So lay a glove on Europe, and then we'll talk about history. You know what I'm saying? That list that Big Steve's always talking about, Joe? Do you know what I'm on about? Where Steve was basically saying how at the beginning of our era, our successful era, yeah, United fans made a list. They were like, if you really want to be a big club, you really want to be like us, you got to go and win a Premier League. You got to win a Champions League. You got to win back-to-back Premier Leagues. You got to do this. You got to do that. We did it all. We completed the list. Yeah, we completed the list. We did treble. We did everything. You got to go and do that, Arsenal. Arsenal have to go and do that. If Arsenal really want to sit at the table that they think they sit at, they've got to go and do that. You know what I'm saying, Joe? They've got to go and do.
First step is just a trophy. Let's not get ahead of ourselves and start talking about back-to-backs and trebles and all this. Your first step as an Arsenal fan is to win a Premier League. That is your first step to trying to catch up. I don't care how many league... Yes, you might have more league titles than us. You probably do. I don't actually know the number of actual league titles, not just Premier League, just league titles. But in the modern era, we have more Premier League titles. We have more titles in general. We have all these... record achievements. Are you Googling this? How many titles, teams are on?
I know Arsenal have 13 league titles, but
I don't know how many we have. How many league titles in general do we have? 9. So we're not that far behind. And would this be 10 then? If we win this one? I assume you're not counting this season.
Sorry, people. Super dyslexic, man. So you have Mancini, Pellegrini, you have 5 with Pep. We're getting another one with Pep Sunday. Up 2. So we'll be on
10 if we win.
Yeah, 10. Yeah,
10 if we win this season, and Arsenal have 13. So it would be 3 titles. We win this season, which is in our hands, 1 game left. We are 3 league titles behind Arsenal, but we have the advantage of having a European Cup and 2 trebles.
Yeah.
So it's kind of looking a little bit sticky, I won't lie, if you're an Arsenal fan, that potentially, again, it's very recent, so it's not like a big history because it's very recent. It's still the modern era. But again, in 10, 15 years' time, potentially you're looking at being a bigger club than Arsenal. I'm being serious when I say that. More trophies, more silverware, more records. Potentially, if we keep going the way we're going, 10, 15 years, could be on a higher pedestal. And that would be a big thing, wouldn't it? To break up the Red Cartel. To get a club in there that has more pedigree. That's like the first step to dismantling everything. Then we may get respect. Either that or everyone will hate our guts.
Go unbeaten then. Well, okay, we'll go and get 12 draws. Or we'll go and get 38 draws. How about that? 38 draws. 38 draws, Joe. How about that?
We'll get 38 draws and get relegated. How about that? I tell you, man, honestly, it grinds my gears every time they win this fucking Kellogg's trophy up, right? 12 draws. It's one of the more... It's genuinely, right, one of the more overrated great sides. It's still an achievement, and it's still something that's, never really been done before, right?
Nice. It's nice.
It's nice. But the season that we got 100 points, we didn't drop points in 12 games. To get 90 points, we didn't drop points in 12 games. 12 draws is... That Invincibles team, right? 12 draws does not... If you drop points in 12 games nowadays, you don't win a Premier League.
No, God, no. Hell no.
That is the standard we're talking about, and we've won 5 in that sort of era. We've won 5 Premier Leagues in a season where you can't drop 12 points, but I'm supposed to believe that the fucking Invincibles, Kellogg's, is more impressive because they drew 12 times.
The Rice Krispie trophy. That's what they have, man. The Cocoa Pops Premier League trophy. That's what they have. Look, I'm not actually going to take away from Arsenal's Invincibles too much because it is an achievement in its own right. But at the end of the day, look, if they had Centurions and we had Invincibles, they'd be telling us Centurions is better because Centurions is better. Why? It's a points game, people. It's a points game. To win a league, you have to accumulate the most points. Yeah, playing football matches in the league is an attempt to gain points. So if you gain more points than everybody else, you're better than everybody else. That's just fact. You know what I'm saying? You can't beat around that. You can't swerve that fact. And no one's ever got 100. No one's ever got 100. Invincibles, well, how many points did the Invincibles get, Joe?
Oh, dear Lord. I could try and do maths, but it won't end well. I might actually fry my brain.
It was 0304, wasn't it?
Yeah. Premier League 0304. Arsenal's Invincibles. They won the league by 11 points. How many was ours when we got 100? Was it 19?
Something crazy, man. Something crazy.
Something. It was the biggest gap between first and second, wasn't it?
Yes.
That's another record there. In terms of Premier League, will it not tell me the actual league positions? Where can I find this?
Was the Invincibles 90, yeah? Even the chat saying 90. Was the Invincibles 90?
The Invincibles was 90 points, dead on 90 points.
Not quite 100, is it? That's where we're at, unfortunately.
Not quite 100. We're at the point where I think this season and last season, you didn't have to get 90. We can get, I think, is it 91 we can get? I think we can get 90. If we win, we end up on 91. Right, okay. So if we win against West Ham to win the league, we have to win, we think. We end up on 91 points. So we end up with a greater points total this season than the Arsenal Invincibles, who didn't lose a game this season.
Pep's worst season winning the league.
Yes. We end up on 91, which is 1 point clear of the team that didn't lose a game.
Oh, shut up, Arsenal fans. Do you know what I'm saying? So shut up. What the hell? If we get 91 points on Sunday and win the league, it will be Pep's most difficult league he's won. Why? Because it's the worst performing league we've had in a while in terms of drop points and performances and this, that, the other. And we still have more than the Invincibles. Fucking hell, man. These guys have some neck. I'm looking at Arsenal's Wikipedia here. They have 3 Premier League titles. We have.
They have three. They have 3 Premier League titles. We're currently on 3 in a row, mate. We might be about to win more league titles in a row than Arsenal just have in this era, mate. No,
crazy.
That is ridiculous.
Mate, that's wild. That's wild. That's absolutely wild. But that's what I mean. We still won't get the credit, man. We still won't get the credit, guys. Quick reminder to hit the thumbs up button, man. Hit that like button and subscribe if you're new around here. We're trying to get to 9K ASAP, Rocky. And link in the chat if any of you great people wish to be a prestigious member of our prestigious club, the membership club. The link in the chat right now. Big up to all of you. No London forever. Did you see Big Steve singing that, Joe?
No.
Oh, he rattled. He rattled when he sang that. He put on a proper Cockney London accent and sang North London Forever. I think it was on TikTok. Funny as hell, man. Funny as hell. But look, in all seriousness, I don't think Arsenal are far away from winning a league. I really don't. I really, really don't. I don't think they're far away at all. I think they could do with a striker, like a real bagsman striker, because the thing with Arsenal is if their wingers aren't cooking in Saka, Martinelli and Trossard, they're a bit nullified, aren't they? So if they get like an Isak or a Watkins, I think Arsenal are well and truly primed. And I suppose another facet to the stream that we wanted to kind of angle was this will come to an end. This reign of dominance that we have over England, you know what I'm saying? Like I've said in the last week, my gut feeling is that Pep will leave in the summer of 2025. My feeling, I've nothing to back it up. I've heard nothing, no ITK, nothing like that. I just feel Pep will leave in 2025. I just get that vibe off the situation. And when he does leave in 2025, we're going to have to humble ourselves quite a bit. Do you know what I'm saying? We're going to have to lower our standards substantially. Do you know what I'm saying? Not just like, oh, well, we'll win one every 2 years, Premier League wise, or we might win a back-to-back. No. Winning a Premier League without Pep Guardiola will be fucking difficult. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is the most difficult league in the world, and Pep Guardiola's made it look easy. We have a freak of nature as the manager right now, like an absolute, he's a weirdo how good he is. No one should have that level of footballing intelligence and that be able to maneuver the game the way Pep does. So when he does leave, we're going to have to lower our standards. You know what I'm saying? We're going to end up like Liverpool or Chelsea or United or any of these clubs. We're going to be back with the pack. You know what I'm saying? Back with the pack. Because right now we're far ahead of the pack as far as everything goes. Trophies, football, goals, whatever. We're better than everybody. But when he leaves, it is going to change. Why are you acting like you've already won? Because I believe we're going to win Channel 1. But it's truth though, Joe, isn't it? I mean, when Pep leaves, things are going to change, like substantially.
Why Arsenal are probably better off stick. Well, yeah, well, they're going to leave at the same time, but that's why Arsenal should probably stick with Arteta. Because, I mean, I'm still hoping deep down that the perfectionist side of Pep, the OCD side of Pep, the weirdo side of Pep, looks at 9 years and go, I have to do one more, make it 10. Doesn't sit right with me doing 9. God, that's the way that I would be. If I was doing 9 years or something, I'd have to do one more, make it 10. Just doesn't feel right leaving it on 9. But at the end of the day, it will be what it will be. Him and Tika will leave at the same time. Like that's already planned. And Pep's contract is up in 2025. We've got I think you said it yesterday. We've basically got 6 months for him to sign a new one. Otherwise, he's probably going to leave. Again, if he doesn't sign one, sort of the halfway point of next season, he won't sign one. I don't think he gets to the end of his contract and then signs an extension. I really don't think he does. So it's going to end possibly sooner than I'd say sooner than anybody would have hoped. It's definitely sooner than anyone would have hoped. Nobody wants him to go, but at the end of the day, nobody really expected him to do 9 years anyway. He's the longest he's ever been at a club. This is not something that he does. So the next period, it definitely won't be as good. We're one of the greatest sides ever. It's not going to be as good. So you've got to temper your expectations, and that's why Arsenal will probably be better off sticking with Arteta, in my opinion, because they have a manager right now who has proven this season, even if they don't win, that he can go to the end. He can go to the end of the season with Pep Guardiola. Last season, they fell short. Last sort of 6 games, they fell apart. This season, he's proved that he can take it to match week 38. We're looking at last game of the season, the title's still on the line. So Arteta's proved that he can go all the way, get a high points total. So they have, that already set. So if they stick with him, when Pep leaves, we'll go through a little bit of a transition period. The league will probably be free for Arsenal to go and win one. The league will probably be free. So, they will probably win one. I think it's kind of a failure if they don't, really, considering the money they've pumped and the points totals they've amassed. And the situations, again, they're 2 biggest competitors for the league. The City Pool era, as we call it, even though Liverpool didn't really win as much as we did. But Klopp is leaving and Pep is soon to be leaving. There is a Premier League title. There's a very, very clear path to a Premier League title on the way for them. It just comes down to waiting, and that's if we don't get it spot on. There could be a crazy situation where the next manager who comes in absolutely smashes it out of the park, because it's not going to be, or it shouldn't be at least anyway, the same situation that Man United had when Ferguson left, which was when Ferguson left, they lost one of the greatest managers of all time. Not only that, but their squad was absolutely terrible. It was full of old men who came to the end of the cycle. There was no future for that squad when Fergie left. That's why they struggled. That's why when Moyes came in, he struggled, because that squad just wasn't good enough. It just wasn't good enough anymore. Whereas I look at ours and go, when Pep leaves, we still have so many players. They still have so many years left in them. Foden, Doku, Haaland. How many of these stay? I don't really know whether Haaland, how long Haaland would stay post Pep. But you still look at other players. Phil Foden, 23. That is who you build your team around. We have enough young players. Vardiol as well. We have players of the right age profiles of where they still have years to go. So I don't think it'll be a drop-off as drastic as Man United, where they go from challenging for league titles with Ferguson, and then post-Ferguson, it's 7th. I don't think it'll be that bad. But I still do struggle to see how the first season after Pep we fully compete, because you're looking at a new manager, potentially a new philosophy, players having to buy into that. So it's just not going to be as good. I think that's kind of really easy to see. It's just not going to be as good of an era, because, again, this is one of the greatest sides of all time that you will ever see. The dominance that we've had in domestic competition, it don't get better than this. It really doesn't. This is rivaling Sir Alex Ferguson in terms of dominance. We only didn't win the league twice, and one of them was his first season. That doesn't happen often. So
Ever.
You live it while it's here, and then hope that, because we are so well run, that they just get it right.
That's my fear, that they don't get it right. I trust who's currently there right now, and I do have a lot of faith that they'll get it right when they're gone. But it's when Pep goes, Tiki will go. When Pep and Tiki are both gone, it's inevitable that some players will decide they don't want to play for City anymore because Pep's not there. Whether that's Haaland, whether that's Vardiol, whether that's Diaz, whether that's I don't know, whoever. Some players will decide they want to go and try a new challenge. The Pep era is over, so their era is over at Manchester City. They want to go and get a new challenge somewhere else, and because City are out of or no longer have Pep at that point, there's probably an easier run at Champions League for clubs around Europe, and there's an easier run at Premier League for clubs around England. I'm looking at specifically Arsenal in that situation. If Arsenal allow a Chelsea, a United, a Liverpool, a Tottenham, whoever, anybody, to catch them up and the work they've put in the last few years and overtake them as next in line to take the Premier League off us. You know what I'm saying? Who's next up? I don't mean next up as in who's going to win 4 in a row and a treble and that kind of thing. I mean, who's going to win the next Premier League when City don't win it? If Arsenal allow it to be anybody that's not them, they've failed massively. Massively. Arsenal have to ensure that whenever City drop off, even if it's with Pep next season, they have to be the ones to steal the chain. But it's a difficult one. To think of life without Pep is really, really difficult, because it doesn't just change the management, and it doesn't just change maybe the style of football. It changes the whole culture of the club. Of course, the club will try and retain somewhat of his imprints and his philosophies and his ideologies and that, but without him himself, it's really difficult to do. Do you know what I'm saying? And how can you retain Pep's philosophies and ideologies when he changes them every season anyway? Do you know what I'm saying? When he changes how he wants to play football every single season, how can you keep the Pep way type thing? So I have a lot of questions, I have a lot of concerns, a lot of apprehensions about life post Pep Guardiola, but it's inevitable. I'm sorry, it's inevitable. Like, you know what I'm saying? When he arrived in 2016, I remember saying to my friends and my granddad, like, oh, we'll probably have him for 2-3 years. He'll win us a Champions League and he'll go off to Juve or somewhere or back to Barca. He'll win us a Champions League, get us our first Champions League, and that'll be that. Bro, we've had 9 years of the guy. 9 years, and he's tore the place up, destroyed every record, achieved anything unique. He's done it. Made us the most feared team in Europe, the most feared club in Europe, to the point where even if we were irrelevant, and if people still say we're irrelevant, we're not irrelevant. We're not. We're absolutely fucking not. We're one of the biggest powerhouses in world football right now. And if you don't like that, that's kind of a you problem, because the facts and the stats and the trophy room speaks for itself. City are one of the biggest powerhouses in world football right now. And whoever takes over from Tiki, and whoever takes over from Omar Barada, and whoever takes over from whoever else decides to leave, I'm sure more will leave along with Tiki. You know, when Tiki's time is up, they'll say it's my time to go too. They have a massive job in their hands to get us back to being a very solid team. I will not demand, when Pep leaves, you won't see me at the Etihad, you won't see me here, you won't see me anywhere, demanding that Manchester City continue the legacy and continue the vein that we're in right now, which is just destroying everyone and everything. I will not demand that. That's not a fair demand or a fair expectation of the club. But what I will demand is that they do not let the standards drop into the gutter. You know what I'm saying? We do not let the standards go back down to fucking championship football. Not that's going to happen, or being like the drop off Man United had. Even the people in place right now have to put the right measures in place to prevent a wild drop off happening whenever Pep leaves. What type of manager we get, I have no idea. Will it be a project manager? Will it be a big dog manager like a Zidane, or someone? Do we throw the checkbook at someone big? I don't know. But there's a big job at hand. So, like, a massive point to the stream people is what we're saying is just enjoy Pep while he's here. Enjoy Sunday. Enjoy the FA Cup final the following week. Look back on everything we've experienced over the last 9 years with as many fond memories and as happiness as possible. Don't let your happiness be clouded by external voices telling you you're irrelevant or you're cheaters, you're this, or that. No one can take away your memories. No one can take away what you felt. You know what I'm saying? Like, what I felt. I've been on the pitch in the Etihad, allegedly, you know, many times winning league trophies. I've been at FA Cup finals. I've been at batterings of Man United. I've been all around Europe. And no one telling me we're cheaters is going to take away my feelings I had in those days. Neither should they for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, football's cyclical, and we're in an unbelievable cycle right now. So you have to enjoy it. Trust me, people, you have to just enjoy it. Real Madrid came to Etihad and played like Huddersfield. Enough said. Look, we became and are the most feared team in world football right now. There's not. I don't. Maybe Real Madrid. Yeah, Real Madrid probably are definitely up there with us because they're Real Madrid. But other than that, outside Real Madrid, we're the most feared team in world football. No one fears anybody else like they fear us. I think that's true, Joe.
Yeah, I mean, just kind of circling back to the whole topic of conversation about respect, getting respect. We get more respect, or we get our due respect from current professionals. Whenever you hear a current player from another Premier League club talking about playing against us, they always say it's the hardest thing you can do. It's men versus boys. Those sorts of things is what gets said about games against us. So current professionals who have to play against us and know what it's like to play against us, they give us our respect because they don't see it for all the circumstances. They see it as on the pitch because they're playing the games. That's how they see it. They just see a good football inside. So when it comes to the players, and probably other managers as well, we're feared. Because we're just very, very good. They know what it takes to beat us. They know what it's like to play against us. We've got a lot more respect from, again, current professionals for things that people laugh at us for. They always say, the empty head, we've got no fans, empty seats, all of this stuff. Was it not one of Vinicius or Rodrigo, I think it was Vinicius last season, when we knocked Real Madrid out of the Champions League, said that's the most hostile atmosphere I've ever played in. Like that was difficult. That was tough. Like we get that sort of respect from the people inside the game that are playing and managing now. Because they play against us. They know what it's like to be on the end of hammerings, most of them. They know what it's like. So that's where we get the respect. We are feared. But when it comes to ex-pros, pundits, rival fans, they don't see it like that. They just don't see it like that. I mean, I think the ultimate... and it makes me laugh just thinking about it. The ultimate sign of respect was when Arsenal came to the Etihad, packed the bus... And AFTV sat there and celebrated, shouting, clapping, a 0-0 draw. That is the ultimate sign of respect, that you were over the moon about a 0-0 draw against a side that at that point in time, we were ravaged with injuries. We had about 3 fit defenders. Like, we were not in a good spot. And they parked the bus. And their fans were happy. Their fans were happy that they parked the bus and got a 0-0. They were happy they didn't lose. I was like, that's the ultimate sign of respect for me. Whether they like to admit it or not, the fact that they were over the moon about not losing.
True. It's true. Nick, when I say 8 years, I know it's 9 next year. I mean, we will have had him for 9 years when the time comes, or if it is to be 2025. That's what I mean by 9 years. But listen, we're about to hit the hour mark. It's been a fun stream, man. I just like to have these conversations, and I think it was important that we had this conversation before Sunday, because, like I said, there's going to be a huge amount of negative media, negative publications around Manchester City come Monday morning and all of next week, and especially if we win the double. You know what I'm saying? If we retain the league and the cup this year, it'll be, you know, if we win the league on Sunday and the cup the following Sunday or following Saturday, whatever it is, we'll have won 7 trophies in 18 months. How fucking stupid that is.
Yeah, but but lad, it means more. And 115, lad.
Did you see the fucking? You probably didn't, but did you see? Sky Sports basically had a feature film about Jurgen Klopp earlier on. It was like a 45-minute, an hour long. It was like the Queen's funeral again. You know what I'm saying? It was
Liverpool's funeral. Klopp's leaving. Oh no! Like I didn't see it, but I can imagine what was in it, and just I don't know how. As a Liverpool fan, I can understand being happy and looking back and having fond memories. You were still a very, very good side. Fuck me, my voice went. You're still a very good side, but does it not still kind of leave a bitter taste in the mouth that you didn't win more? Given how good you actually were, does it still not kind of just not sit right that you didn't win more than you did? Maybe. I mean, we all know in them early years, he did not prioritise cups at all. He just threw the kids out. He didn't care about the cups. He wanted the big ones, which I can respect. He wants the major trophies, but now that, you know, all's been said and done, would you not be disappointed that he maybe didn't go for another couple of cups, boost his trophy haul a little bit?
Listen, you're preaching to the converted here, Joe. I agree. But listen, people, we're going to wrap it up anyway. We'll be back tomorrow at midday. I think we're going to do midday. I've got a few family things to do tomorrow afternoon, so there won't be an afternoon stream. Midday, we're going to do the full final day preview. The last preview of the league campaign this season. Myself and Joe will be back. It should be midday. So turn on the notification bell. Do us a favor, hit the like button on the stream if you haven't done so already. And the top of the description, the link is to become a channel member, and it's in the chat now. We want as many of you to join our prestigious club for prestigious people as possible. And subscribe if you're new. But until tomorrow midday, take it easy, Blues. Give us our credit, man. Wrap her up, Joe.
I see dead people. Aye, monster on the beat, ho, Debo, any rap nigga, he a freak throw, man down, call like Amber Lambs, tell him breathe, bro, nail a nigga to the cross, he walk around like Tizo. What's up with these jabroni ass niggas trying to see Compton? They in the street and hate me, fuck them all and they mama. How many options you really got? I mean, it's too many options. I'm finna pass on this body, I'm John Stockton. Beat your ass and hide the Bible if God watching. Sometimes you gotta pop out and show niggas. Certified boogeyman, I'm the one that up the score with him. Walk him down whole time, I know he got some hoe in him. Pole on him, extort shit, bully the flow on him. Say Drake, I hear you like I'm young. You better not ever go to cell block. Why is he around? Certified lover boys, certified pedophiles. Wop, 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 wop. That fuck him up. Wop, 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 wop. I'ma do my stuff. Why you trolling like a bitch? Ain't you tired? Trying to strike a chord, and it's probably A minor. They not like us. 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 You think the Bay gon' let you disrespect Pop, nigga? I think that Oakland show gon' be your last stop, nigga.